Okay, hey everybody, we're live. You get me today instead of Jennifer. I have a puppy and board and train, so we're just gonna show you kind of what it looks like when we have a puppy in the house. I know we've gotten a lot of questions lately about kind of struggles with our puppies, whether it's jumping or biting or just not really interacting well with our kids. So I also have tiny humans. I have one right here with me, the other one's upstairs. So management is really key for this. I have my big guy here too. So we have Elijah and we have Miss Gracie with us down here. Gracie's been with us for about 2.5 weeks now. Yeah, that's about right. And we've been working on better interactions with kids. She likes to jump. She came liking to bite, but we have resolved most of that. So anytime that there's an interaction with a tiny human, because they can be really exciting, which is super great, but I always like to make sure that I'm in the area to supervise, and I'll show you guys in a second kind of what my setup looks like in order to best set everybody up for success. So this is Adeline. Say hi. Hi. She's my tiny human. And these are the dogs. So when I talk about management with tiny humans, and we say this a lot, but what we actually mean is if she is playing with the puppy here on the floor, then I am actually going to be here on the floor with her, because I want to make sure that during this interaction with Gracie, not only is Gracie successful, but I want to make sure Adeline's successful too, because our kids have the absolute best intentions. But let's be honest, puppies are exciting. They're really fun. Things happen. We want to make sure that everything that happens is successful for everybody. So Gracie is offering some really nice defaults right now. That's beautiful. We've worked really hard on this. This started with a lot of auto-sitting practice. And now we've worked to where we've gotten closer to the tiny humans, and she has interactions with them, and she'll offer a default down because we've been working on her down a lot as well. So Adeline's really exciting sometimes, and we jump and throw balls, and everything is really extra, which is pretty typical with tiny humans. But notice the dogs have learned that no matter how exciting Adeline gets, it actually pays more to offer a relaxed down than it does to go and jump on Adeline. Now, is this 100% successful? No, we still get some jumps on occasion, which is why we want to make sure that I'm here to intervene in the event that anything does happen like that. But we also set the environment up for success. So what that looks like is a lot of toy options. I like to introduce something new every day when I'm working with a puppy too. So today we introduced this little, it's like a balance cushion. It wobbles and moves, and it has like a different texture, and Gracie gets to kind of check it out and feel different movement. That's very nice, Gracie. But we have a lot of toy options. There's a lot of chew options because Gracie is a girl that loves her options. She gets easily bored, so if I narrow down her options too much, she likes to find something inappropriate to chew on. So I try to make sure she has plenty of very, very appropriate options, which also includes a bunch of toys. So right now she's got a few out. That's really nice, Gracie, thank you. She's got a few different ones out, and then I rotate them out. So I have a bucket that's full of just other toys and different options, and she's got some favorites, but we put some new ones out today that she's been having some fun with. And then I switch them out. Usually about every week or so, I'll put some of the toys away and bring out some of the new ones that I have in the closet that really aren't new. It's just ones that I put away the week before, but then they seem really new again for the dogs since they haven't seen them in a whole week. Also, I have a crate in here so that we can practice just crate training and different options while we're in the living room. Gracie came not super excited about the crate But now she actually goes in perfectly fine and does okay in the crate. But throughout the day, we will just play games, tossing treats in and out of the crate. That's really nice, Gracie. Thank you. And she goes in willingly. Sometimes she just goes in to nap in there and hang out in there. She hops in with excitement every time now. So good girl. That's really nice. Thank you. She's doing really good with her crate training. Another management tool that works in my household, we have a hard time keeping kids' toys separate because the layout of my house, the kids' space, is actually upstairs. So if they're downstairs and wanting to play, this is actually a storage stool. So kids' stuff and things that we don't want the dogs to get go inside of there. That way they're actually up off the floor, because our dogs don't know the difference in a kid's stuffed animal versus their toys and stuffed animals. It's kind of too hard of an ask to expect them to be able to make a choice between their stuffed animal and a kid's stuffed animal. So my kids know that it's okay to play down here, but when they're finished with their toys, it either needs to go upstairs or into the bucket with a covered lid. You could use like a Rubbermaid tote or even like a storage drawer or something like that. That's totally fine too. I also had to strategically place things for Miss Gracie because she likes to go back and chew on outlets, which we've been working on. So rather than letting her practice that behavior, not only is the crate in a position to not allow that, but I moved the kid toy bin over so that it would be blocking her from going to get to something that's not safe for her while we work on those good behaviors. That's very nice. So kids and dogs. And then also I have success stations around my house. So what that means is I have bags of treats basically everywhere. I never want to be caught in a moment where I can't reward my dog for good behavior. As you can see, Gracie she's a champ. She will work anytime you let her. So will Elijah. He's like, I would like some of that too. So I like to make sure that I am keeping, thank you, Elijah, that's very nice. I like to make sure that I'm keeping treat options within a few steps no matter where I'm at. So there's treats on the couch in a closed container, obviously, because I don't want the dogs to be able to jump up and just get them. There's treats on the other end of the couch because if I'm sitting down there, I want to be able to toss some in the crate just to encourage going in the crate and making it kind of a happy, safe little rest spot for Gracie to take a break. There's treats over on the grooming table because with Miss Gracie, we are working a whole lot on grooming and she's getting phenomenally better. But I want to make sure that every chance that I get to work on something, I can grab a treat really quickly and never kind of be without. I'm also wearing a treat pouch all the time as well and have a clicker. They're really helpful to make sure that you always have treats on you also. And then I have another treat station over here right by the back door. So when she needs to go potty, it's really easy to just grab a treat on our way out because otherwise we're in such a rush to try to get to the door and get outside and we might forget the treat and then she doesn't get a reward. So instead, I set myself up for success and make sure that I always have something for her. And then there's more treats on my kitchen counter. That way, if I'm heading towards the kitchen and if I don't have my treat bag on or I ran out of treats in my bag, I can still grab a treat when I'm heading towards the kitchen because we've been working on appropriate kitchen behaviors to stop counter surfing. So you always need to have something on hand for that. Counter surfing happens really quickly, especially when we have tiny humans because they tend to leave things at the edge of the counter. They go in the kitchen and they drop things. It's really exciting, and then next thing you know, your dog is counter surfing because they just learned that it will pay off eventually. So we've been working on this. Lots of auto sits as we go into the kitchen. If she jumps, I just ignore it. She doesn't get any attention for that. There's not a no, it's not a correction, it's not anything like that. I just wait it out because every time she makes a good choice, she just needs a second to remember what that good choice is. And then she does it so beautifully. Good girl. And then in the kitchen also, this is why also, side note, I don't gate off my kitchen because unfortunately the design of my house doesn't really make that easy because there's 3 different ways to get into and out of my kitchen. So instead, If I have a tiny human coming in the kitchen, I get up and come in the kitchen too, because I would rather spend 5 minutes rewarding for good behavior like this and not counter surfing than having to go back and spend days, weeks, goodness only knows how long, correcting a behavior that I could have just prevented in the first place by just getting up and coming in. I know it's inconvenient. There's a lot of other things to do, but this pays exponentially more. Obviously, you can see Gracie's making amazing choices already. She did come jumping on counters and stuff, but she also loves to learn. So given the opportunity, she makes excellent decisions and loves getting reinforcement for it. So also to set us up for success, I have a 2-story house. Like I had said, my kids' stuff goes upstairs. So this is gated off so that the dogs can't go up there. We do let the dogs up there only under supervision, meaning that I am actually going up the stairs with them. And generally speaking, if we go upstairs, the dogs are on leash. The reason for that is upstairs, there are toys that are not necessarily dog safe, so I want to make sure that I have a really good opportunity to intervene in the event that anything like a Lego is on the floor, or we have like Shopkins, or just the really small toys that are not dog safe. And Gracie has also learned that when we go behind the gate, she has to wait patiently, so she is offering a default down, waiting patiently like a very good girl. That's very nice. Yeah. Up here by the front door, I want to always make sure that if my doorbell rings or if someone comes over, I always need to be able to practice good behaviors as well. There's another success station up here with more treats just in case, because we are also working on every interaction being good with the door and no door bolting. Good girl, Gracie. So that's what my setup looks like. Notice also we do have shoes, but they're put away so that we limit options for going after shoes. Purses, bags, backpacks, that kind of stuff is all put up where they can't be reached, because otherwise it's kind of just another option for the puppy to chew on. Doors are closed to areas that I don't want her to access, like the laundry room, the bathrooms, things like that. Those doors remain closed. Hallway doors, closet doors, bedroom doors are all closed so that she can't actually go in there unless an older human, an adult, is with her. And then also I have a plethora of food toys, and Gracie is a food puzzle fan. So is Elijah. They love a good food puzzle. So we use the Snoop a lot. This one you can put kibble inside of. I like to put one bigger treat in there with it so it makes it a little harder to come out. There is a little like a ball insert that you can buy for this that makes it harder for them to get the kibble or treats out, which works really well once they get used to kind of how to use this. And then just a regular Kong. This is not Gracie's favorite yet because it's still a little bit too hard for her, but notice it's empty and Elijah's like, can you put food in there? This is another Westpaw Quizzle. This one you can put a bully stick or a Himalayan chew inside of, but what I actually like to do, those ice cube trays that are the longer, thin ones made to put inside of water bottles, you can freeze a mixture of canned food, pumpkin, mushy kibble, and a little bit of water into those size cubes, and they fit perfectly in here. And it's really good for dogs on hot days. If you live in Texas where we're at, it's over 100. This has been a huge favorite for Miss Gracie. And then I have 2 topples to show you the difference. This is a large Westpaw topple. This is the small. They actually do fit together to make a harder puzzle too, but that's the size difference. Usually for puppies, the small works really good. Gracie really loves the small. She's actually waiting to see if she's gonna get a food puzzle right now. It's really nice. But these you can put in a whole bunch of different stuff. I like to feed meals. If I'm going to feed an actual meal, I don't use a bowl. I do use a lot of food puzzles. These work great for kibble mixed with wet food, pumpkin, yogurt, dog-safe fruits like bananas or blueberries or even strawberries, or even dog-safe vegetables like green beans or carrots or things like that. They can be all mixed together or even layered in these and then frozen. And then these guys love to work on them. Good, Elijah. Good, Gracie. They like to work on them for a while. I also use them in the crate, especially when we were still getting Gracie used to the crate. A food puzzle in there was like life for her, which was very helpful, actually. She loved being in the crate as long as she had a food puzzle. Another option for you guys, if you have a lot of kid and dog interactions and you feel like they tend to get maybe a little bit too aroused, make sure you get your kids involved in the training. I posted a couple of videos this week that show how we work on that in my house. So we do circle time where we'll do name game and everybody has treats, everybody has a clicker. We take turns calling names and having the puppy come to us. So like Gracie's done a whole lot of name game to work on her recall and stuff, and the kids really love to call her back and forth and see who she'll come to first sometimes. But that way they feel really included, and it also helps both kid and dog learn how to have more appropriate interactions. I also posted 2 videos today. I would love for you guys to go back and check those out as well. It's very real life, so don't mind my messy house and my barely awake child, but I am careful to make sure that anytime I hear the kids getting up and coming into the room, I want to have a treat and clicker in hand. I like the clickers that you can wear on your wrist because then you can just, have it with you all day, make life a little easier for everybody. And then I have success stations to grab treats. That way, as soon as my exciting child comes into the room, I can really just have a treat party, and it's not over arousal for the dog. It lets Adeline come into the room. Gracie usually offers something like this because she loves the auto-sitting, and then she gets rewarded for it. And because she's using her brain to give that auto-sit and to focus, we get a lot less jumping. I think it's been a day or 2 since she's had any big jumping incidents, but this helps her and it helps all of us so that we don't have biting with the kids, because sometimes our kids can't help it either. When our puppies bite, it does hurt, and sometimes that can end in screams or even running away. So what my kids tend to be taught is if the puppy gets too excited and starts biting, or if they're playing a little bit too roughly, they're going to stand up and disengage from the dog. Their hands come up to their chest so that they're just not hanging down getting bit. And then they kind of stand still like a tree. So typically that causes the dog to disengage automatically, but you as the adult want to be right there to help redirect. So in the event that Gracie jumps or bites, Adeline will stand up and disengage. And then I'm going to help Gracie refocus by either doing a target or name game, or I'll walk a few steps so that she follows and then offers an auto sit. Because then Adeline's no longer exciting, so we're not rewarding the jumping and biting, and Gracie gets to use her beautiful brain again, and we're right back on track, and then we can start play all over again. So that way Adeline can still pet and love on her and do all the fun things, and everything's still good for everybody. See, anytime I move a few steps, she'll come and she'll offer an auto sit. Very good girl. Very good girl. And this works as long as you practice it. So we practiced it with the tiny humans also because we want the behavior to transfer to other humans as well. So what that can look like is Adeline can do it too. Want some treats? Okay. You can go that way. Good. So she did jump, and that's okay. Adeline stands still and doesn't engage, and then Gracie does sit. You can give her a treat. All right. And Elijah's like, I like this game too. Give her a second. She's like, I can auto sit too. So getting our kids involved, but being right here and doing it too, so that it's something that the puppy learns that doing the same behavior for the tiny human pays, but we're also right here in the event that they have a struggle, because it can be a struggle sometimes, and it takes a minute for them to really get used to the tiny humans. There we go. Good job. You can feed Elijah for that one too. Good job, guys. Yeah, auto sitting with tiny humans. Yeah, good job. So this lets her have some fun. It lets them have some fun. I'm going to default down. You can feed him for that. And then I'm right here to coach through the interaction as well to make sure that everything stays successful. And then we can always change course if we're not having luck. But Gracie's actually doing really, really good because she's the best girl. Good job. That was really nice. So that's what it looks like in our house. Now, I know kids want to pet and play and do all the things, which is great. We want them to play with our puppies. We want them to have fun. We want it to be something that's exciting for everyone. But we also need to remember that our puppies are not fully capable of making excellent choices yet until we really stack those odds in their favor and set them up for success with a really good, strong reinforcement history. So that's why Elijah's like, can we play with this toy? Thank you, buddy. That's why we want to make sure that we do this, not just with the adults, but let your kids be in on it too. Make it a family thing. Get everyone involved. That way we can make sure the behavior generalizes to everybody. And we do this in multiple areas, not just the living room, but we will do the same thing outside, on the front porch, in the backyard, in the driveway, in the kitchen. We want to make sure we get all that practice in while also making sure that it's always supervised. I know that's easier said than done sometimes. Good job, Gracie. Yeah. But this is a heck of a lot easier than having to go back and try to fix the behaviors that we don't like. Because right now, this is beautiful. How great would it be if every time your kid came in the room, your puppy offered this gorgeous behavior rather than jumping or getting too excited? See if anybody has any questions. Feel free to ask. You're welcome to post any questions down below as well, and we'll watch the feed and respond to those as well. Feed her for that. Good job. Good job. You can pet her. So when she's nice and calm like that, I like to encourage petting in this situation because Gracie's so calm. She's ready for it. It's going to go really well for everybody. I'm still right here just in case, but this lets Adeline have a chance to love on her and do all the cuddles and do all the great things that I know she wants to do, while Gracie is actually ready for that to happen. When our kids go to pet and our puppy is already all riled up and, all excited, then it's a little harder because our kids are going to go to pet and our puppy may bite or mouth them, not to be mean, but just because it just happens when they're overexcited. So sometimes a little 2-minute training session with your kid involved helps to set you up for a really good petting and playtime. And Miss Gracie is probably super tired now. And Elijah's already going to chew it out. That's my other suggestion as well. When you do a training session that is a little harder, have 2 options ready to go or a frozen food puzzle. Because once your dog is done training and they need to bring their brain back into neutral, they're going to want to chew it out. It happens. It's totally normal. And we want them to have good options to do that with. So I do have a frozen food puzzle ready to go for both of these guys as soon as we're done here. Because having them go through behaviors repeatedly, it kind of gets their brain to where they just want to chew it out and get back to neutral. So we will do that as soon as we're done here. And that's pretty much all we have. This is tiny human and dog interactions and how to set yourself up for success. Make sure you have 2 options, lots of toys that you rotate. Block off any areas you don't want your dog to get to. Manage kids' toys either in a bin with a lid or behind a gate, so that way they're just not accessible. And close any doors to rooms you don't want them to get to. Reward this beautiful behavior. Thank you, Miss Gracie. And when you go in the kitchen, same thing. It's kind of like every room is going to kind of be a repeat. Very good, Miss Gracie. Let us know if you have any questions. Thanks for joining in, you guys. Have a great evening.